So it started the GeoServer. You see the GeoServer started when they started it done. Then maybe we can look for the your web pages, and then you see the GeoServer running the port number 777, and then it's so on and so forth. All the services that we already defined, you can go to the previous channels, and how can you previous screencast, how can you import the geospatial database into the PostGIS database. From the PostGIS database, how can you produce the geospatial or geoservices, and then call the geoservices. That's what you need and what you require into the into the into the your web application or geo web applications. And that's the part of the really spatial. You need some knowledge and an idea as a geo programmer, GIS programming and GIS programmers. I mean, doesn't matter. It's a really spatial branch. You see the all the information that is coming. It's coming the all the configuration that you have it in the database, and then in the database, and even though in the GeoServer. So you see, those who have no experience about the GeoServer, please Google it or look for our channels. How can you install the PostGIS database, and then how can you configure or install the GeoServer, and how can you publish the your geospatial data as a service, as a KML, or as a WMS or WFS or WCS, and then other format of data, or GeoJSON or JSON, KML, GML format of data, or shapefile format, doesn't matter. So I think that should be started the GeoServer. You see it's need a couple of seconds. You see the GeoServer started the port number 777. That's we expected, and then simply you need to go to the browser. A localhost, you see the GeoServer, and this is the GeoServer run localhost, the local machines. Maybe this machine is located somewhere in Germany or USA. Just you need to change it. That you just post your host and the port number. For our, we are running our GeoServer in locally, and our database also locally. Even though it's possible to put it database into the cloud, and then you can cloud, you can see the from the data from coming from the different part of the world, you can produce it. You see a lot of examples that we already have it. That's all the definitions, all the things. That's what we need. We define it here, our service implementation for the examples. That's we already talk about. There's many examples, because that's I said, this is the really couple of years working experience, that what we did and what you done it here. So this is the one of the example that we will configure, and you can visualize this data. If it's the GeoServer, the data is there, you can also visualize the informations in here. This is the data is there. I don't know. Let's visualize other data. Geospatial raw data is there. I see the data is there. It's a complete data set is there. So one sort of data is there. So that means you got the idea. So we get the geospatial database, and then we publish the GeoServer data, and after that you just simply call the services, or you can export the data as a KML, as a GML, and doesn't matter what type of data you need, just simply. And then you have a possibilities with other lot of formats. You have and WFS, feature services, CSV, KML, GML3 and KML2, and JSON, KML, and this one. You just simply click this KML and produce the KML files, and then after that, what we did, we just build all the KML files from out of these features, KML export, and we store in the KML file is located here. So that means you produce your KML files or other files that you need, depending what application you are, what type of tools you try to use, because we try to use it at Google Earth. That's why we need this KML format, and then visualize these things together. Let's go back to the Google Earth. So we produce our data, we try to visualize one by one and discuss something, and how can you manipulate things together. So let's open this these files into the not very simple notepad files. How will this look like? So we produce KML file is exactly, you have some folders, place marker is the name, description of the view files. You see, if you don't no idea about the structure of the KML files, please Google it and you can very quickly understand how what I mean. How can you do it? This one. So it's a folder and this place marker and it has a name and has a description. Description has a containing the specific tables. That's I mean, you can have really other possibilities that you can visualize it. You have a table information, static information. Maybe this data coming from the your any other web services, or that's you can build. But this is the demo. How can you think? How can you deduce? And how can you produce those data and integrate this data into the geospatial data sets? That's like one of the example. This is the coordinate informations, uh, information for road networks or any plots and buildings. And then if I go to the, and then if I try to visualize the civil structure information, how it's look like, let's go this one, the Google Earth, and we can remove this one, maybe uh, delete this one projects, because and then we can import the Google from your file systems, and then you can see the civil structure informations, what we store and what is there, what is done. So if I go the civil structure informations, you see there's information is there, and then if you go to the click event, just you see the all the information that you store into the your into files user and in just in the KML files. It has a ID and the name, type, descriptions, and so on and so forth. This is the one of the demo example. How can you design, how can you implement different tables and different HTML and CSS. You can manipulate this thing together, and that's you see that the possibility. You can see the 3D animation of the of your 3D models. That's I mean. So you have all the possibilities. You can visualize this and manipulate it's the your 3D models, and that's I say it depending on the your requirements, the use cases of your functionalities. The Google has the Google Earth and Google Maps. It's a lot of possibilities. You can visualize your model itself. That's the intention for this one. The possibilities I can say you can also do this way. So this is that means you have the pop-up information that you saw already. This is the information. This is the serial number, type, and address, and it says ID. And see the exactly the same information that you are plotted in here, and it has coordinate information. The one simple objects. And then let's go. Let's put the other models, other examples that we are talking about. So that has more geometry informations. So let's delete this one. And because I have a lot of data, I cannot do the multiple import, and then you need to be really specific license for that ones. So that's the information that we already talk about. This main information, this we plotted, the information that you have it. So its information is there. So present. So you can go to this one. So see, that's the exported. That's our register plots and buildings in the city area. You see the information when I click it. What I expected is exactly the information coming from the database. It has this capital city Dhaka in Bangladesh and has ID, house number, plots, road number, and then it's a coordinate information. That's what we expected. And this all the pop-up clicks, you see the information, individual information is coming, and what type of information is you store in the database. You can get it, even though you can edit it from directly from the Google Earth. This is only the visualizations, but the real data into the database as a GeoServices, a GeoServer produce the service in itself, and you have the possibility like you can hide it, this object, you can show it, hide it, show it, depend on what type of an editing, and you can also delete it from the file system, and after that you can visualize the more things. Of course, if you need a really more heat into the Google Earth, then that means you have a license from the Google Earth, you can do more things into the Google Earth. That's still